Chosen one, there is something sacred stirring within you. You may not always feel it in grand, dramatic moments, but it's there, in the subtle glances, in the quiet way others begin to notice you, in the increasing awareness that your presence affects more than just the space you occupy. What you're feeling is the rise of your high sexual energy, no longer wild or unfocused, but rising with purpose, with clarity, with divine alignment. You are stepping into something few dare to fully embody, influence without force. And that influence begins with how you carry your own light. Your energy has become undeniable. It vibrates beneath your voice, travels in the rhythm of your breath, and pulses through the calm confidence of your stride. It's not boastful, and it's not demanding. That's why it's powerful. It's there in how you enter a room without trying to be seen, but you are seen nonetheless. It's there in how women begin to open up more easily around you, as though something about your presence invites truth, reflection, and trust. You are no longer just a man walking through life. You are becoming a mirror for those around you. And the mirror you offer reflects possibility, strength, and calm assurance. This is not about seduction or surface attraction. This is about radiance, a kind of magnetic gravity that draws others near, not because you chase them, but because you have chosen to know yourself. The moment you began to walk in your authenticity, something in the world shifted. And the truth is, women are drawn to you not because of what you're doing, but because of who you've become. They feel the stability in your silence. They sense the intentionality behind your gaze. They trust the warmth behind your smile. But here lies the deeper invitation. Chosen one, don't just accept this energy as a gift. Embrace it as a calling. This energy within you is not random. It's not accidental. It was given for a reason. To lead, to uplift, to inspire. You are not meant to hoard your power, nor are you meant to misuse it. You are being shaped into a man who can hold power without losing grace, who can channel desire without breaking boundaries, who can inspire attraction without creating confusion. This level of energy is not for the faint of heart. It is for the grounded, for the self-aware, for the ones willing to walk in purpose, even when no one is watching. So, how do you take advantage of this power without losing your soul? By remaining rooted in presence. By understanding that your energy must always serve a higher aim. You do not use it to manipulate, but to illuminate. You do not wield it for ego, but for expression. You walk through life not needing to conquer, but inviting others to rise with you. That is the mark of a man who has embraced his power. Not by controlling others, but by mastering himself. You are now carrying the kind of presence that creates questions in others. Not because you are trying to be mysterious, but because your essence cannot be contained in a single conversation or a single glance. It's this very fullness of being that makes you magnetic. And it begins with the moment you say without words, I know who I am, and I will not shrink to be accepted, nor inflate to be seen. Welcome to the awakening. Welcome to the moment you stop chasing power and begin embodying it. This is your entry point. This is the breath before the breakthrough. You are the chosen one, not because the world decided so, but because your soul accepted the call to rise into your fullest self. And this, chosen one, is just the beginning. Chosen one, as your power awakens, so does the gaze of the world. You may not always see it directly, but you feel it. In the way people pause mid-sentence around you, in the quiet respect that follows your footsteps, in the way women begin to look at you not just with interest, but with wonder. There is a reason. Your energy has evolved beyond simple attraction. It now carries weight. It influences, and with influence comes one of the most sacred responsibilities a man can carry, integrity. There is no power without temptation. As your sexual energy expands, as your presence begins to ripple through the lives of others, there will be opportunities to use that power selfishly. You will feel moments when it would be easy to use your charm to feed your ego, to chase pleasure at the cost of someone else's peace. But you, chosen one, are not here to repeat old stories. You are here to write a new one. A story where a man can hold fire in his chest without burning the world around him. A story where inspiration is not just about being admired, but about being trusted. Integrity means you move with clarity, not confusion. It means you are intentional in how you show up. Especially with women. You don't lead them on, only to disappear when you're done. You don't entertain them with false promises. You don't inflate their hopes with empty gestures. Instead, you speak from truth. You act from groundedness. You engage with awareness. Because you know the power of your presence, and you know that with every conversation, with every glance, with every moment of closeness, you are teaching people how to treat themselves by how you treat them. That is the deeper weight of influence. Not the eyes you attract, but the hearts you shape. You are no longer an ordinary man. You are becoming a man whose name is spoken in rooms you've never entered, whose energy lingers long after the moment has passed. Women talk about you, not because of what you did, but because of how you made them feel. You made them feel seen. You made them feel respected. You made them feel as though they were standing in the presence of someone who understood power and chose not to abuse it. That is rare. That is sacred. That is you. And when you live with this level of integrity, something beautiful begins to happen. Your influence deepens. People don't just admire you, they trust you. Women don't just desire you, they feel safe around you. And in that safety, they begin to open. They begin to rise. They begin to heal. Not because you saved them, but because your example gave them permission to return to themselves. You've become more than attractive. You've become inspirational. But let this truth stay close to your heart, chosen one. Influence is not about control. It's about presence. It's not about how many people want you. It's about what your energy gives when people are in your space. You do not shine so others will look. You shine so others will remember who they are. And if you can carry this light with humility, if you can walk with both strength and softness, if you can continue to hold yourself with discipline and dignity, then your influence will not fade with time. It will grow. Because true influence is not loud, it is consistent, it is rooted, and it is born from a man who has chosen to lead with his soul, not his shadow. So continue forward, chosen one, not as a man seeking praise, but as a man committed to truth. Your power is real, your presence is potent, and your integrity will be what sets you apart for generations to come. Chosen one, your presence now carries a rare frequency. It speaks before your mouth opens. It creates a sense of calm, a sense of attention, and a very specific sensation that women notice immediately. He sees me. This is not the kind of recognition that comes from staring or observing with intent to possess. It is the kind that comes from presence, the kind that says, I am here with you, not ahead of you or above you. And when you operate from this frequency, you are no longer just interesting, you become magnetic. And this magnetism opens the door to something deeper than attraction. Connection. But connection is not created by accident. It must be cultivated like a sacred garden. And you, chosen one, now walk with the tools and the soil to grow something lasting and profound. Your high sexual energy has elevated beyond the physical. It has moved into a spiritual realm. It pulses not only through your body, but through your awareness. And when you look into the eyes of a woman, she feels it. Not just the desire, but the depth behind the desire. That's what allows her to trust you, even in small ways at first. You don't connect by saying the right things. You connect by being the right presence. You don't rush to fill silence, you let it speak. You don't reach to impress. You let her discover the layers of you slowly, organically, like peeling open a story she didn't know she needed to read. That's where connection is born. Not in the fireworks, but in the space between breaths. That's where your strength begins to feel safe. And safety, to a woman's soul, is more seductive than words ever could be. To cultivate connection, you must first be connected within. This is why your journey has never been about surface-level mastery. It's always been about integration. You have become a man who no longer seeks validation. You've turned inward, faced the discomfort, healed the fractures, and now stand whole. Not perfect, but unapologetically real. And from that place you extend your energy not to take, but to give. Not to be adored, but to be felt. When you speak, you do so from stillness. When you smile, you do so with sincerity. When you listen, you do so with curiosity, not calculation. These are the traits that build bridges between people. And when you meet a woman from this place, you're not just another interaction in her day. You become a moment of awakening, a mirror, a reset, because in your eyes she sees not just your desire, but your respect, your discernment, your presence. You understand now that connection is sacred. You don't cheapen it by pretending, by performing, or by pushing. You move slowly because you know that real intimacy isn't something you chase, it's something you earn. And so you give space for her to open without pressure. You let her feel you without needing to define what it means. And in doing so, you become a man she doesn't want to forget. Not because of how loud you were, but because of how deeply you saw her and how deeply she felt seen. So cultivate that connection with care. Don't rush the unfolding. Don't try to own the moment. Just be the moment. And watch how doors open, not because you kicked them down, but because your energy gave people permission to let you in. This is the alchemy of your presence, chosen one. This is how hearts open, and this is how your influence begins to transform, not just attract. Chosen one. Now that your presence creates deep resonance and emotional openness, the world will begin to offer you more attention, more admiration, more invitations. Women will be drawn to you not only for your physical appeal or your energy, but for the clarity and calm they feel in your orbit. Many will want access. Many will want more than just a smile or a conversation. But in these moments, you face one of the most vital tests of your power, the wisdom to restrain. True strength is not proven by what you conquer. It is proven by what you choose not to touch. You carry high sexual energy. It pulses within you with intensity. It's undeniable. But your mastery begins the moment you realize you don't need to chase the rush of immediate gratification. You've risen above the impulse to prove yourself through indulgence. Now your attraction becomes a gift you don't hand out cheaply, not because you withhold out of pride, but because you value your essence. You understand that your energy is sacred currency, and not everyone has the capacity to steward it. Restraint is not repression. It's not about silencing desire. It's about owning it, feeling it fully, but choosing consciously how to express it. When you sit with a woman and feel the natural chemistry building, when you know that she's leaning in, waiting, curious, you don't rush, you don't take, you hold space. You allow the moment to stretch, to deepen. You allow trust to blossom, not because you need control, but because you know that timing is part of truth. And when the moment finally arrives, it arrives whole, without confusion, without chaos, without regret. That's the difference between a man who reacts and a man who rules himself. Restraint makes your energy more powerful, not less. It builds tension, not out of manipulation, but out of presence. It says, I feel this energy too. I honor it. But I don't use it to extract. I use it to guide. And in that guidance, you teach something rare. You teach what it means to desire without domination, to express without expectation, to pursue without pressure. You become a sanctuary for those who have only known men who take. You become a portal into peace for those who have only known passion without purpose. And that peace, anchored in your restraint, becomes more magnetic than any words, more seductive than any gesture. Because it says, I know my power, and I won't give it away to anyone who hasn't earned my truth. Restraint also protects your path, because not every moment of chemistry is meant to be pursued. Not every spark is meant to be ignited. You see through the veil now. You understand that some invitations are tests, some attractions are distractions, and instead of following every flame, you follow alignment. You choose presence over performance. And in doing so, you free yourself from the cycle that consumes so many, the chase, the loss, the guilt. You are no longer just a man with high sexual energy. You are a man who knows when to let it rise and when to let it rest. And that is wisdom. That is leadership. That is the true mark of a chosen one. Chosen one, there is a profound shift that happens in a man when he understands that his strength does not require hardness and his power does not require distance. You've arrived at that moment. You've walked through the fire of desire, refined it with discipline, and stood calmly at the center of your high sexual energy. And now you are being asked to lead not with control, not with command, but with compassion. Compassion is the wisdom of the heart. It is the force that allows you to see beyond appearance, beyond reaction, beyond defense. It is what softens the sharp edges of power and makes your presence a healing one instead of a threatening one. It is not weakness. It is not naivety. It is the highest form of spiritual strength, a quiet, grounded ability to understand and accept the reality of others while remaining anchored in your own truth. As a man whose energy now moves through rooms and leaves impressions in the hearts of women who cross your path, your compassion becomes more than a virtue. It becomes a requirement. Because now, people are listening when you speak. They're watching how you respond. Your energy has become instructional. Without realizing it, you are teaching others how to navigate closeness, desire, and emotional intensity. And it is compassion that guides you to do this well. When a woman enters your space and feels the pull of your presence, she isn't just reacting to your attractiveness. She's responding to the safety your compassion creates. She may not be able to name it, but she feels it. The way you listen without interrupting. The way you hold her emotions without trying to fix them. The way your eyes soften, not because you've lost your edge, but because your soul has matured enough to hold two truths at once. She is strong and she is sacred. You lead with compassion when you understand that every person you meet is carrying something unseen. That what they show you may only be a glimpse of their full story, and instead of demanding their best, you meet them where they are. Instead of expecting them to match your energy, you offer space for them to relax into their own. You lead without ego. You guide without pressure. You influence without domination. And in doing so, you leave behind a rare imprint, an experience that says, you mattered here. You were not just wanted, you were understood. This kind of leadership rewrites narratives. Women who have learned to protect themselves with walls begin to lower them, not because you asked them to, but because your compassion made it safe to do so. They begin to open up about things they haven't said in years. They begin to trust not just you, but themselves again. Because your presence didn't just feel good, it felt true. And truth, when delivered through the lens of compassion, doesn't just inspire, it heals. So let your power carry softness. Let your magnetism carry mindfulness. Let your desire be guided by discernment. And most of all, let your leadership be marked by love. Not the romantic kind, not the possessive kind, but the kind of love that says, I see you, and I will not harm you with my presence. I will uplift you with it. That is compassion. That is mastery. That is the path of a man who was chosen not to dominate, but to illuminate. You are that man now, and your compassion will be what separates your power from all others. Chosen one, your journey has carried you from self-awareness into self-mastery. You've become a presence, a quiet force, a man who is watched not because he seeks attention, but because his alignment commands it. But now, as more eyes look to you, as more women lean into your orbit, another layer of purpose arises. You are no longer just admired. You are inspiring aspiration. Women aren't just drawn to your energy because it excites them. They are drawn because it elevates them. You've become a living reminder of what is possible. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the choices you make, the self-control you've learned to master, these things awaken something in others. They begin to see more clearly. They begin to feel more deeply. They begin to remember a version of themselves they had forgotten or abandoned. That is the mark of true influence. That is the moment your energy becomes a mirror in which others recognize their own potential. This is not about placing yourself above anyone. You do not inspire because you are flawless. You inspire because you are real, and because you have chosen to rise from your pain rather than be ruled by it. You have taken the fire of your desire and forged it into light. And people, especially women, can feel the difference. They can feel when a man has done his work, when he's faced his ego, when he's walked through his own darkness and come out with grace, not arrogance. That transformation becomes contagious, and it invites others to rise. When you interact with women now, you are not just being seen for what you bring. You are being felt for what you awaken. In your presence, a woman may feel more feminine. She may feel more creative, more playful, more powerful. Not because you've given her something, but because your presence reminded her of what was already inside her. You reflect to her the truth of who she can be when she is no longer guarded, no longer afraid. That's the power of aspiration. You don't pull people towards you. You pull people into themselves. And with that power comes responsibility. Because aspiration can become addictive. People may begin to depend on your energy to feel like themselves. But your role is not to become their source. Your role is to remind them of their own. So when you inspire, do so with boundaries. When you offer your energy, do so with clarity. You are not here to carry others, but to ignite them. And once they begin to rise, your task is not to hold them, but to cheer them on